Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Hang on a second. Okay, so happy afternoon, everybody. Happy Wednesday afternoon. We have a special meeting today with the National Kidney Registry Microsite folks. EJ Temez has presented for us before, and Yaretli, I'm hoping I don't massacre your name, is also here to help. Now I am going to do a quick and dirty uh, poll that I want you guys to take. So, oops. Okay. So please take the poll. And we're just asking I'm asking some very basic questions here. So, have you even considered looking for a living donor? And it looks like most of you have, so that's a good thing. Um, a lot of you are not attending any community or professional events. It looks like it's a little less than a third maybe are or are not. Um, and most of you, 90% use social media. So that's the big takeaway that I have for this is a way for you to use social media for something that's productive. And not just I get stuck in the reels. So forgive me, I do get stuck in the reels. And that's not really healthy, but this is kind of a healthy way to use social media. So I'm going to end this. I want to give you guys some other statistics. Um, oh, so you should be able to see the poll results there. Okay. All right. So right now we have about almost 900 people on our wait list. We have right now, I think, a little over 81 microsites for those people. And right now we have about 400 other people in evaluation for a kidney transplant and about another 500 to 600 referred to us for transplant. So you can see why we think that you need to be looking for living donors, right? We really think, and we think this is a good way to do this, and it's a way to get this to go viral. So I'm going to turn it over to EJ, and he's going to do any other introductions for the rest of his team, and he's going to take it away and tell you all about National Kidney Registry and microsites.
Thank you, Pat. Appreciate it. Again, this is the second time I do this training, and now we have a co-host, Yaretli Hernandez, right? You're here to learn about microsites, as Pat brought up. And again, for Mayo, Florida, I'm going to start with the first slide here. Okay, here we go. Oh, sorry. There we go. Go ahead, Yaretli, kick it away. Introduce yourself. Tell about your testimony and your story, if you don't mind.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yaretli Hernandez. I am a coach with the National Kidney Registry, and I'm also a kidney recipient. I received a kidney in 2013 from a living donor, my cousin. And at that time, though, the voucher program and any of those programs, the microsite was not a thing yet. So I found my donor the old school way. I started sharing my journey on Facebook, and that's how my cousin learned about what was going on with me. And she came to visit me and she wanted to get tested. And you'll be surprised when you ask for help, people actually show up. If you don't ask for help, they're not going to know that you need help, right? And sharing your story is a very brave act. You have to be vulnerable to share your story too. So it is very important to feel comfortable with putting ourselves out there, because you know that dialysis, it's a treatment, but it's not a cure. For us kidney patients, kidney disease patients, our only and best option is a kidney transplant, specifically from a living donor, which has better outcomes. So I became a coach to expand. After I received my kidney transplant, I wanted to expand my efforts in terms of creating awareness about living donation. And I made it a mission. And later on in life, I had the opportunity to join the National Kidney Registry team as a coach and help people that are going through the journey that I already went through and help them share their story. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm very happy and very excited to be here. And I hope that you guys learn a lot from this webinar. Happy to be with EJ. EJ, you want to continue? I don't know if you're sharing your screen already.
I am. Thank you, Yaretli. Great testimony. Appreciate it. And again, you heard from Yaretli, who's a recipient. Now you're going to hear from me from the donor side, right? I am the person responsible for all the coaches, Yaretli and 5 other coaches. And again, this is for our Microsite program, right? I actually have a pretty peculiar story. I think, of course, Pat learned about this one the last time we did a training, but I'll give it 3 minutes to tell you a little bit about it because it's very important. The takeaway from this story is don't take it for granted out there. A lot of people may not know about living donation, right? There's a lot of knowledge about deceased donation, because as we all know, we have to sign the back of our driver's license, right? Whether we are a deceased organ donor or not. But living donation is not that, a lot of people don't talk about it, right? I was one of them. When I learned that my brother needed a kidney, I actually went to see him, here in Texas, and I realized he had already been on dialysis for almost a year. And, wake up call for me, number one, was the fact that he could barely walk, right? He was only 42 years old. He could barely walk, young family. He had lost his job already. He couldn't provide for his young family. And that really broke my heart, especially when his 5-year-old wanted to play football and he couldn't even get out of the chair to play football with his son, right? His youngest son. So that was wake up call number one. Then I asked my brother, I said, have you gone to a transplant center, right? To get look at different options, find out about deceased donor. I called it donation, right? And only thought about deceased donors, right? And he said, no, brother, I have not. I said, well, I'm your oldest brother and we're going to go to the center. And it's part of what Yaretli spoke about before. A lot of times we don't want to share and be vulnerable to people. Well, my brother was one of them, right? He didn't want anybody to know about his disease or his issues, right? But I was close and I twisted his arm. We went to a transplant center here in Texas. And I spent the night with him at the hotel, same room, saved some money. And I saw what it was to do PD dialysis in the hotel room, right? And that was another wake up call for me because I saw how he had to disinfect the whole room, clean up, and do it again every single night. And I asked my brother, I said, do you do this every night? He said, yes, brother, every night. Anyhow, we go to the center. I'm sitting there in the weight room at that center. And for some reason, I was the only person in that weight room while my brother was getting checked up by the nephrologist, right? To be added potentially to the deceased donor kidney list. And when I'm waiting there, I got my hands in my head, looking at the ground, desperate to help my younger brother, not knowing what to do. And here comes, I call her, like someone at Mayo, Florida, maybe, an angelical coordinator, right? She comes forward and she looks at me and she initially thought I was, going through some kind of, I was hurt or there was something wrong with me. She asked, she said, what's wrong with you, sir? And I said, hey, unfortunately, my brother needs a kidney and there's nothing I can do for him. That's what's wrong with me. And she looked at me, she said, well, you look healthy enough to be a donor. Oh my goodness, my eyes went wide open, right? Because I literally thought that, I was going to pass away because I was trying to donate a kidney as a deceased donor person, right? Anyway, that's the lack of knowledge that's out there. I didn't even know about living donation, right? So when you start sharing your story out there, don't take it for granted. You're probably going to have to start from the bottom up and educating people that living donation is an option, right? It's an option. And a lot of people like myself did not know about it. So anyhow, to make long story short, within 6 months, I was out there donating a kidney to my brother. And now he understands, a couple of things that my brother mentioned, after the transplant. He said, brother, I had forgotten what it felt to be healthy again, right? And that was the day he woke up at the transplant center. That really came into my heart, telling me I did the right thing, right? And the other statement he made, just like Yaretli said, she said, dialysis is a way to again, it's a way to survive, but not a way to live. Just like Yaretli said, right? It's a way to treat. It's a treatment, right? But it's not a long-term fix. Right? With that, we're going to start about microsites with those two testimonies. And please, anytime, and again, I think we can do this at the end, Pat, if there's any questions, we can definitely answer at the end of the presentation, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, so you want to take this one, Yaretli? You are awesome at it.
But I'm unable to see the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'll take it, no worries. Okay.
How can I see it, by the way? Because I don't see the slides.
That's fine. I think I'll take care of it. No worries. I think Pat may be able to do that later. But okay, so what is a microsite, right? A microsite is actually, and everybody else can see my screen, right, Pat, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
Okay, great.
And
Awesome.
go ahead.
All right. So what is a microsite? A microsite is simply a free personalized website to help patients search for a donor, right? One of the biggest things about microsites is the fact that, once again, we talk about business cards, right? Business cards is a great way. Okay, there's a comment there from Touring, Pat, that they cannot see my screen. Let's see.
I see that. So EJ, go ahead and take off your share and then try again.
Here we go. I'm going to try it again. Let me know if you get it.
And
Okay. Let me know if
somebody
you're.
let me know if you're able to see now. Yaretli, are you able to see?
No, I'm not able to.
Okay. Huh.
How about
No.
Turin? Can you see the screen, Turin?
All right. Hang on a second for me here. See what's going on here. Okay. Are you seeing the slides now?
Yes.
Yay. Okay, good.
Awesome.
Sorry about that, guys.
I'll take this one, Yaretli. You'll take the next one. So anyhow, 250 business cards. This is what a business card looks like, right? You can see here it has a QR code. And by the way, this whole program is free of charge to you, right? You don't have to spend any money to enroll in the microsites to participate. If you ever finish distributing those business cards, you can always ask your coach for more business cards, okay? And we'll talk more into that in a little bit in more detail, right? It's a way for potential donors to easily and confidentially register to be a donor on your behalf, right? When you create a page like this young man, Greer Biao, right here, and someone that comes in and visits that microsite, that page, they click any of these three blue buttons, that registration goes directly to you, right? They are registering as a potential donor on your behalf, right? So that's very important to know, right? That it's automatically tied to your record, right? As a recipient, all right? And then again, a platform that gives you the tools to succeed. And this is the most important part, including a coach, just like Yaretli or I, we're coaches, and we will be able to help you through the whole process from, again, educating you on what the microsite program is, how to create a compelling story like this one right here for Greer Biao, and also how to share your story, right? Because once you create a compelling story, you also want to share it. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. I also want to mention for this young man, Greer, he is our record holder. He not only received one living donation, he had 3 other people donate through his microsite for other people. Just imagine how compelling his story was, right? He yielded 4 different living donations because the people felt compelled after reading his microsite story, okay? All right. And now we go to you, Yaretli, for the next one. Go ahead.
Totally. So yes, like EJ was saying, it is very important to customize your microsite. And if you don't have one yet, please do yourself the favor of getting a microsite to share your story. and it changes everything when you customize it. Let's look at the difference between a starter site and a custom site. The custom site will include your story. You can share it in social media like the starter site, but it's going to be much more impactful when it has your photo, your story, and you're able to connect with potential donors in a different way. So these are the difference. A starter site, you still can share it. You're still going to get the business cards, but it's going to be much better if when people click on that site or scan your code, they see that that's you and how would a kidney impact your life.
Thank you, Yaretli.
Sure.
Next. And this is simply a way to show you how you can actually register. If you're here, more than likely, like Pat opened up the training with, there's a lot of need for more people to register, especially, of course, if you already waitlisted, right, on your transplant center. I'm going to have this QR code at the end of the presentation where you can simply look at it. And again, you can scan it and start your self-registration for a microsite, okay? This is what the screen will look like once you go to that QR code. And once again, there's a very important information here, where is your name, you know, your phone number, etc. And then there'll be a HIPAA here that says, of course, I understand about HIPAA and I do want someone to contact me, okay? That's in a nutshell what that is, okay? Now, once you register, this is the email you're going to be receiving, right? It's going to say, congratulations, you have taken an important step in your living donor search. To view your site, again, it's going to be a starter site. Click here, and you're going to be able to see your starter site, which is simply your name. And again, you know, a general template about your story, right? Nothing personalized yet. And then to customize your site, because again, there are people out there that already have a story, right? And they may want to start uploading their story already, even before they interact with their coach. They can do that as well by clicking on this tab right here at the bottom, and they can start uploading their photos and uploading their story. I would encourage you to work with the coach, because the coach is going to provide you with very, very important information of some things they already know that work, and also some information that may not be necessary to share. And one example, of course, Yaretli knows this, is blood type. A lot of times we think that we got to find a compatible match. You don't, right? Through the NKR and your transplant center, Mayo, Florida, you can, someone can donate either as a paired donor or a voucher, which the voucher is the best way to go to try to get the most compatible match possible, okay? Important information, and interact with your coach, okay? Go ahead, Yaretli, take this one.
So this is how a successful site looks like. It will have a friendly photo of you, your story, and then explain how about your kidney journey and why you need a kidney donor. And then at the bottom part, you can add up to 4 additional photos. Okay, so we recommend adding a nice photo of yourself. It does not have to be a professional photo. A selfie from your phone will do. And then 4 additional photos with your family. Some people add photos with their dogs, etc. We also recommend to add something that we call the kidney donation basics, which explains what EJ was talking about someone donating on your behalf. A match not being necessary. However, someone can donate on your behalf and provide you with a voucher, and you will get a kidney from a living donor. And it will also explain about the donor protections and how medical costs are covered for donors.
Thank you, Yaretli.
Sure.
Now, tips for writing your story, right? What are those things, like Yaretli was saying when we were looking at the template, that we need to utilize as a baseline to start creating my own story, right? Keep in mind, the coach is going to help you, right? But they're not able to write the story for you, right? They have to have the background from you as to what you've gone through, who you are. Why are you searching for a living donor, right? It's logic, right? We're searching for a living donor so that I can wait less time and not have to be on the deceased donor wait list a long time. But more than likely is, what is it, you know, you talk a little bit about medical, you know, why, you know, how you got to the point where you currently are needing a kidney. You know, you don't have, a lot of people try to elaborate their whole story about the medical part. You don't have to, because the biggest thing is, people that read your story, you want them to feel compelled to donate on your behalf, right? How do you do that? By connecting with that potential donor, right? Your interests, very important to name. I love going picnics, right? I like to go and take my dogs for a walk. Yaretli talked about that already. And more importantly, at the end, you want to close with a very compelling paragraph that says how a kidney transplant will affect my life, right? We've had stories from patients that say, when I get my kidney, I also want to advocate just like you guys do for other people. So that's very compelling, right? It all have to be you, but if you feel like you do, that's another way to also add to your story. Other people talk about traveling, they love to travel, they like to go back to work, etc. Right?
Watching their kids grow, watching their kids get married, graduate.
Thank you, Yaretli. Take this one, Yaretli, if you like. Yep.
Okay, so this is an example of how the business cards that you receive in the mail look like. So they contain your name, your website, which is very easy to remember, very easy to share. It's nkr.org/ and then 6 digits, 6 characters after. And they also contain a QR code that when people scan it, it's linked directly into your website, your microsite. You can share these with coworkers, friends, display it in community boards, take it to church, put it in your job's bulletin board, share the card in social media. You can take a photo, share in social media. So there are plenty of ways that you can share it. And if you run out, you can always contact us, your coach, and we can send more for free.
Can I add one thing while you're on here? One of the things that I really like about this is you'll notice that the patient's phone number and their email address are not on this card. And so you're not having to explain your story over and over and over again. It takes people right to the site. If they're moved by your site, it's one click for them to start the donation process. And you haven't had to tell them anything. You haven't had to talk to them. So I love that about this. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Pat. The story speaks for themselves, right? And once again, you hit a very good point, Pat. I want to bring up, going back to my testimony. When I did the questionnaire, which is on the date that my brother was getting checked up for the deceased donor wait list, the coordinator asked me, you got 2 options. You can either tell your brother or you can keep it to yourself. A lot of donors will want to remain anonymous until potentially they get approved. I was one of them. I told the coordinator, I said, I don't want my brother to know about it until I get approved, because I don't want to give my brother any false hopes, right? So back to your point, Pat, of course. Thank you. Next slide. Take it away, Yaretli.
Sure. So this is how the editor side of your microsite looks like. It has 2 fields. Each field you can add up to 2,500 characters. The top one should be more than enough for you to share your story based on the 4 questions that we previously discussed, sharing who you are, what are your interests, your hobbies, what happened to you, why do you need a kidney, and how would a kidney impact your life. So that top part, you can feel free to write your story. And the bottom part, I as a coach always recommend to add the kidney donation basics, that your coach will provide that information for you, or you can find it in findakidney.com in the sample website that we shared earlier.
Thank you. And then if you want to take this one too with the photos, that's fine.
Sure. So if you look at this, it has 5 fields for you to upload your image. Once you first see it, you're only going to see 1 field for the profile photo, and then you can click on add image. That's the button that's on the right hand side, and it will add this 4 additional fields for you to add the additional images. Of course, we always recommend, like, going back to the editor side, things not to put in your microsite: non-violent language, no cell phones or emails or information, because remember that your microsite speaks for you, and that's the link to your transplant center as well. So it communicates directly with the NKR and with the transplant center. It's a confidential way for potential donors to sign up. So here's where you can add your photos and your caption, and then you can save it as a draft. in the bottom part if you're working with your coach, or you can submit it as well, and your coach will take a look at it and approve it or decline it if there's any information that needs to be revised.
Thank you, Yaretli. All right, I'll take this one. Here's a quick snapshot of where we've been in microsites, right? This is an important slide for you to understand why Pat, of course, is inviting you and the rest of the team at Mayo to participate in the microsite program. When we started the microsite, I was not around. Samantha Hill, she is the one that started the microsite program back in 2019. There was only 8 microsites that were activated, as you can see here, right? It's pretty rapidly ramped up to where we currently are. We're currently almost 6,000 microsites, again, from 2019 to 2025 of the end of Q2, okay? So this is important to know. Now, more importantly is, again, how many living donor transplants have occurred? And I can tell you that we just hit our 1,000 transplant not too long ago, right? It's been probably about 4 days, but the microsite program has now had 1,000 living donor transplants. Okay, important to note. Now, and I apologize, there's some red lining. I don't know where that's coming from, Yaretli, but we'll find out later. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, where we are with microsite total transplants for the year of 2024, part of that 1,000 historical that I'm talking about, we had 310 living donor transplants. For this year, we're currently targeting somewhere around 400. We're currently analyzing about 359, but we're pretty positive that we'll get to the 400 by the end of the year. Okay. I'll let you take this one, Yaretli.
Okay, so this is a very interesting diagram that shows how your situation and how your microsite can help you. So in the middle, there's you, the patient, and then you see you have an admin, a caregiver, and a champion. Sometimes one family member wears the 3 hats, and sometimes you have other people who are supporting you in that sense. Your admin is the person who's always on top of your appointments, making sure that you don't miss appointments, that you go to your dialysis clinic. The caregiver, the one that takes care of you, if that's the case. And your champion is that person who is advocating for you and is helping you look for a living donor or is getting tested themselves. Then the other side on the bottom, you see your coach and you see your microsite. So your coach is the liaison between you and your microsite and helps you make it more effective. And your microsite, of course, is the link between you and your potential donors. That's the way that you're going to be able to find a living donor and streamline that testing process and connect them to a transplant center.
Thank you. Now, the role of a donor search expert coach. I think we've spoken about a couple of those already, but I'll re-emphasize this. Again, the coach can help you write your story, but they cannot write the story without your input, right? Very important to know, right? Another one is provide a wide range of educational information for you. But very important to know, neither me or the rest of the coaches are able to provide any medical advice or information. For that, you need to contact your transplant center directly, right? We're not medical professionals. We will never respond to medical questions, right? Now, the coach can tell you the number of visitors and completed registrations, and we'll talk about that in a minute, about the email that you get every week once you get enrolled in the microsite with the number of registrations and number of again, visitors, right? But we cannot provide any specific information because we don't even have it on who those donors are, right? And more than likely your center will not do that either because of HIPAA, right? The HIPAA laws, you probably are familiar with that. Now, coaches can do a Zoom call with family and champions. Very important to know. Once you have a microsite and let's say you do a family gathering, and you want other people to learn about living donation just like you are right now, or you want someone else to talk about the voucher program, anything out there, you can ask your coach to do a Zoom call with you and your loved ones or your champions, right? Now, we cannot do physical presentations in person because we live all over the country. And of course, that will be almost impossible, right? Then the last one, we can provide step-by-step instructions for how to share your microsite on social media. I know that was one of the questions that Pat had in the, when we were initiating the training, but we cannot share your personal story on our own personal platforms, right? Because again, we will have to share everybody else's, and we cannot do that, right? It has to be you guys. We walk you through the process, and you and your family or loved ones can share those on your own personal platform. Okay. Go ahead, Yaretli.
Sure. So who should champions and patients reach out to? And this graphic shows the circle of influence. Where to start? You start with the closest people to you, your family, your friends, and then you move on to reaching out to acquaintances and strangers. If nobody in your inner circle is able to donate, that's when you start reaching out to strangers and acquaintances. And with all the resources we provide, it makes it easier for you to share your story and reach out to them. Next slide, please. I think it speaks more about this.
Go ahead. Take it away, Yaretli.
Okay, so what to say to potential donors? I know it's a big ask. It's something that sometimes we don't want to talk about, of course, but you'll be surprised when you start asking the question how people are going to react and what's the worst thing that could happen. They are going to say no. So the first approach to your family members, something very direct. Hey, will you be willing to get tested to see if you're medically qualified to donate? To your friends, pretty similar. Hey, I'm asking all my friends whether they're willing to get tested to see if they're medically qualified to donate. That's something that you would consider. And when it comes to acquaintances, you would do a less direct approach. Hi, I'm looking for a kidney donor. Do you know anybody who might be willing to get tested and see if they're medically qualified? And to strangers, completely indirect. I am looking for a kidney donor. Can you help me find a living kidney donor by sharing my story? And to all of them, you can actually ask them to help you share your story if they can donate themselves.
Thank you. Now, methods of communication, very straightforward. We all know, and we talked about it already. Ask directly, talk in person, like Yaretli was talking about on the circle of influence. Phone calls. Another great way is also if you take a photo of your business card. Again, if you don't have presence on social media, that's fine. You can have your family do that on Facebook or Instagram or X, whatever. But you can also text that photo with the QR code to all your family members and your friends, right? And say, hey, please share my business card with your contacts, because that's going to be a great way for people to read your story. And the more people that read your story, the more potential donors you can bring in, right? And again, people write letters as well. Share your story. The microsite we already talked about. Social media posts, church and local organizations. That was another question Pat brought up during the initiating the training. Again, those are very important as well. If you attend those, take business cards and hand them out, right? Television and local news. I know Yaretli has a great formula on that, right? On how to reach out to, again, TV channels and, provide a letter to those patients in order for them to be recognized, and hopefully the TV station do an interview for that patient, right? So that they can actually potentially, again, go to other potential donors in the network, right? Again, microsite posters. We have a project in the next couple months that's going to come out, and we're going to be sending y'all microsite posters of your story, so that way you can post them and share them with friends and family members. T-shirts, bumper stickers, and billboards. Now, billboards can get a little expensive. Some people can do it, others cannot. But if you cannot do billboards, don't worry. There are so many other ways to share your story, right? Now, this is a great one. I wanted to talk about this real quick. You know me and Yaretli already. We're here, and we already talked about ourselves. We also have Terry Bennett. She's also an advocate herself for her son. Her son received a kidney, and she did a great job of advocating for her son. Brian Drain, just like Yaretli, Brian Drain is a patient himself. He received a living donor transplant. It's been a few years, but he did a great job as well. And he was able to find a living donor. And Tara, just like Tara is a double donor. I'm not a double donor. I'm only a kidney donor. But Tara donated not only her kidney, but 3 or 4 years down the road, she donated part of her liver to a pediatric patient, to a child, which is amazing, right? And of course, Debbie Parrish at the end. Debbie is also an advocate to her husband, and she did a great job on her story to find a living donor for her husband. Go ahead, Yaretli.
So how to use your microsite to get the word out? Like EJ mentioned before, you can share it via email, text, and social media, hand out your cards, leave your cards at work, community centers, public spaces, word of mouth, you name it. You can get very creative with this. I have patients who have created a TikTok and call it Kidney for Kiara. And they start building their audience based on their need and their journey. They share their dialysis journey every day. They share tips about living donation. They share information for potential donors. And of course, they always put their microsite link out. A way that I like to share is you can put your microsite link in your bio, in your Instagram and Facebook. So people don't have to scroll down to look at your microsite if you have posted other things. It's always going to be on top if you put it in your bio. And you can, if I'm your coach, of course, I can help you with drafting a letter for you to present it in the news, to send an email to the news. We also have templates in findakidney.com that you're going to see that resource later on. So there are many ways for you to share your story once you have your microsites.
Thank you, Yaretli. Okay, this is another great way to be, again, informed on how your microsite is doing, how is it performing. On the left, I talked earlier about that weekly email report, right? You can see here that every week, Friday morning, correct me if I'm wrong, Yaretli, early in the morning, you're going to be receiving an email that has the site visitors to your microsite, and more importantly, the number of completed registrations, right? Those two numbers are very important because they're going to give you an idea of how good of a job you and your team and your champions are doing, again, on sharing your story. The higher the number on these two different, again, numbers, it's going to be very important for you to know that you're doing a good job, right? And you can always ask your coach as well. You can say, hey, coach, I got 3 registrations. What does that mean, right? How does that compare to, whether I'm doing a good job or not? Same with site visitors, right? And then there's going to be a lot of resources at the bottom that you can just click on those, and you can actually navigate directly to each of those resources, okay? And then monthly microsite motivator. This is an amazing way that you started, and correct me if I'm wrong, Yaretli, this is also weekly, right? If I'm not mistaken? Yeah. Monthly, I'm sorry, monthly motivator, you're right. And it's going to have the donor search blogs, patient success stories, meet the coaches. You can actually watch a video for whoever your coach is, and and learn more about that coach, video resources. And again, champions can actually register themselves and start receiving this information as well, so they can stay educated on your behalf as well. Okay. Go ahead, Yaretli.
So why a living donation could be your best option? Number one, the waiting time is shorter. 80% of patients are transplanted within 90 days of activation in the NKR system. And I'll explain what does this mean. Once you become active as a voucher holder, let's say someone donates on your behalf, and the estimated waiting time for you is 90 days. It could be less than that. I have patients who have received a voucher, and within a couple of weeks they received their transplants. It could be a little more if you're not ready for transplant yet, your anatomy, blood type is rare, but living donation is the best option over deceased donors. Also, it improves compatibility. Better matches means better outcomes and the possibility of reducing immunosuppression medication post-transplant. So we're not only thinking about our life, about our transplant, but we're thinking about our life post-transplant. We want that kidney to last a long time, and we want to make sure that we have the best quality of life possible when it comes to post-transplant life. And to finalize, it also leads to better outcomes. Like I mentioned, living donor kidneys can last twice as long as those from deceased donors because it leads to better results, better matches. So in general, living donation is the best option.
Thank you, Yaretli. All right. Now, why compatibility is no longer important? Again, this is also directly related to the voucher program, right? Historically, patients need to find a compatible donor. That would have been difficult, right? 10 years ago. Now, again, why is that? Because 40% of donors are incompatible due to blood type or antibody incompatibility, right? Currently, the NKR has essentially eliminated that. And with over 90% of incompatible paired transplants taking place, okay? And this happens, median wait time is 1.8 months, right? Just like Yaretli brought up. So very important to know, as I mentioned in the introduction of this training, do not list your blood type on your story, right? Because if you do that, what you're doing is you're making that fishing net smaller, right? You want to widen that net as much as possible, because if somebody sees and they're not compatible to you, they're going to say, well, I wish I was, I'm not going to register. You don't need that. You only need you need a donor regardless of the blood type or compatibility, okay? Now, I want to take this one too, Yaretli, if you're okay. Why you want a voucher? I think there was a question there about the voucher program or pair donation, right? I want to call the voucher program, and somebody brought it up to me one time, and it's called it's the pair donation on steroids, right? It's a hard one to talk about, but it's basically voucher. The voucher program is gonna, when somebody donates as a voucher on your behalf, they're opening the door to the whole registry of potential donors, right? Not only are you constrained to a pair donor that has to donate at the same time on the same date that you're actually able to receive your transplant, but when someone donates through the voucher, you're going to be able to receive the best compatible match possible. Again, instead of, the voucher will the pair donation will constrain those choices, but the voucher will open up the door to the better match possible for you. Okay. Now, I'll take this one too, Yaretli. I'm sorry. Potential donors can speak with a donor mentor. Very, very important to know when you talk to your potential donors, educate them, right? Let them know when you're starting to register. That's only they are reaching out to you. They're disclosing to you, family members, inner circle, that they want to donate on your behalf and they're going to register. Always ask them to, opt in to talk to a donor mentor. Who's a donor mentor? Just like myself, somebody that has previously donated and that is going to share their testimony with that potential donor, right? That wants to register on your behalf. Why is it so important? Number one reason, people that talk to a donor mentor are 5 times more likely to donate. Okay, I had a donor mentor. The program didn't exist yet, but I reached out to somebody through social media, and that donor educated me again from the donor perspective, not the medical perspective, right? And again, he never provided medical advice. He only told me what it was to be a donor, how he felt post-surgery and how he recovered from his donation. So very important that when people talk to a donor mentor, they feel a little better about going through the whole process. Okay. Go ahead, Yaretli, this is yours.
Sure. So donor search tips. Potential champions should have a clear reason why they can donate. So your champion, in this case, someone who's helping you share your story, they should be ready to answer the question. So you're helping your sister, brother, husband to get a living kidney donor. Why don't you donate to that person? So that's something to keep in mind. Your champion should have a clear reason why they can be a donor. Number two, never say you have a donor until surgery is done. Like EJ said, never say you have a donor until that kidney is inside of you. Things can happen, be ready, medical issues occur, donors back out, surgery can be canceled. So never disclose that, hey, I have a donor until that surgery is already done. Because saying that you have a donor can prematurely turn away potential donors, right? Also, you cannot talk someone into donating, so do not try it. If someone has already made up their mind, they said no, don't push it, because that's something that it's born from inside of the person, and they will know if they want to become a donor in their heart. Okay. And number four, anyone could be a potential donor, so don't rule people out. Don't think, oh, my cousin, but he's 60 years old and he's too old. No, or like this person, but they have this condition. So let the doctors do that. If they voice out, hey, I want to get tested, don't say, oh no, you're too old, you're too young, you're a woman and I'm a man, or nothing like that. Let the doctors figure that out and rule it out, and they will know if they are a candidate to donate or not. Okay, and there are many donor support options out there that are available as lost wage reimbursement. So another reason, do not rule people out because they are full-time workers either, because there are many resources from the NKR that can help them get reimbursement for travel expenses, loss of income, you name it.
Thank you, Yaretli. All right. What is Donor Shield? I know you already talked a little bit about this, right? Already. Donor Shield is lost wage reimbursement. Anybody that wants to be a donor, and again, we cover those donors with Donor Shield protections. And again, there's been times where we have donors come to the NKR that are UPS drivers, warehouse workers, manufacturing, right? FedEx, whatever. And they have to lift heavy boxes, right? That's not part of their normal day-to-day job. Well, do not worry, right? The NKR and your center who participates in Donor Shield, they're going to be able to cover up to 12 weeks if necessary of the recovery for that donor, okay? And it'll be reimbursed to that potential donor. Now, donor expense reimbursement as well. Again, any travel, lodging, etc., that happens and is connected to the donation, they gotta save those receipts and keep a tally of that, and those potentially could be reimbursed as well, right? The biggest one here is living kidney donor prioritization. Anybody that donates, again, through the NKR, and again, especially they register through your microsite, they're going to be prioritized in case, which is the rarest case that anybody will ever need a donor will need a kidney. Once again, very, very slim chance for a donor like myself that I will need a kidney. But once again, it's good to have that backup in there, that you would always have that prioritization in case you need a kidney as a donor, right? And there's other items in here that I won't go into detail. You can always go to your, again, Donor Shield and NKR site and learn more about each one of those different items in here. Now, I'm going to take this one, Yaretli, if you're okay. Now, what is post-transplant microsites? That's something brand new within our NKR program, that now we have a way. Let's say, for instance, one of y'all get a living donor, deceased donor, or even a voucher, right? When you get one of those, hopefully in the near future, guess what? You can keep your microsite active, right? This all started with a little girl. You can see her here, Haley Fruciante, right? Haley and her family did a great job on creating a very compelling story, right? And she was able to, again, not only receive her kidney, but also to be able to bring other potential donors through the process, right? Because when somebody read a story for this little girl, they felt compelled to help her, right? And once again, we're doing it now for everybody. If you get either a deceased donor kidney, living donor kidney, or a voucher, you're going to have the option to keep your microsite active Going forward, and here are the reasons why, right? I'm sorry, I don't have them in here, but the reason is basically number one, to be able to not only advocate for yourself for an added voucher, right? Because keep in mind, even if you receive a voucher or a living donor or deceased donor, you can still get additional vouchers on your behalf in the rarest case you ever need another kidney donation, okay? And then the biggest one too is, just like I mentioned on Haley or Greer earlier, they advocated for other people on the wait list because they brought in more donors through their story by them writing a compelling story and having more donors interested in living donation, right? So that's the other reason it's important for you, if you so choose to, living your microsite active, okay? And again, this is another example of what that ribbon looks like in here. Again, this is for another patient that shows in here. They received a transplant from a living donor, but they chose to keep their microsite active. And this goes automatically on their microsite once their status as a living donor transplant recipient is updated, right? Now, take this one away, Yaretli. This one is yours.
So these are the top informative online resources that you can connect to. The first one, you see the kidneyregistry.com. It has everything you need to know about living donation. And then you have the findakidney.com, which is a one-stop shop for everything you need to know in regards to your microsite and tips for your search. So in this website, you'll be able to see success stories from people who have already gotten a kidney transplant thanks to sharing their story in their microsite. You will see blogs, you'll see videos, educational videos, English and Spanish, and you will be able to see the centers. Also, Kidney for Life, it will explain this initiative about how the NKR has pioneered matching kidneys with the best, finding the best match for kidney patients. And lastly, DonorShield.com, which explains everything regarding the donor protections and reimbursements. And we have one new one, ChooseDonation.com. It's not here because it's very new, but that's also a very good hub for potential living donors.
Thank you, Yaretli.
Sure.
With that, that's it. We're done, Pat. And again, we can open it up to questions, any comments, anything you guys have. Of course, if there's a medical question that comes up, we'll leave it to the professionals, right? To Mayo, Florida, and the staff, if they're willing to respond to those. Go ahead, Pat.
And we actually have a few of the professionals um, on the pre-side can help too. But you guys, if you want, if anybody's got questions, unmute and ask your question, or you can throw it in the chat. I am going to say again, I really like this program because I'm not really good at going out and telling people stuff about my personal life. I think this is a nice way to do that, and it really gets the information out there to people. And you can make this go viral if you've got, God knows we all have enough friends and family that are online on different platforms that you can really get this out to a ton of people.
Definitely.
Anybody questions?
And while people get ready to ask their questions, I wanted to expand a little bit in a question that I see here in the chat that says, will you address the exchange program? I have a donor who is not a match, but is willing to donate a kidney sometime in October. What is the process? Quickly, this gives the opportunity to speak up a little bit about the voucher program and how it's made to the convenience of the donor. Your donor in this case can only donate in October, so it's more convenient for the donor to donate at their own time. They can donate a voucher by donating on behalf of their intended recipients, and that recipient will become active in the system and get a kidney approximately within 90 days.
Thank you, Yaretli.
Sure.
Got a question. I had signed up with this thing y'all talking about, and once I signed, I never got an email back from nobody. I never got a coach or nothing like that. I need to set up my story.
we can take it offline if you like, Pat, and you provide me the name of the patient and his email address. We'll definitely take it from there. Yep.
So is David, is that you? You sent the message to the chat? Is that the same or is it another person?
My name is Gerald Kinnick.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because there's a couple of people here that um that are saying they're having that issue. So yeah, we will reach out to you. Kim's gonna follow up with David and I'll reach out with you. Okay.
And we'll be able to help anytime, as you know,
Yes.
Pat. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and please, guys, if you're ever having troubles like that, reach out to the team. You've got our contact info. Just reach out to us and tell us that you haven't heard back. This stuff should go pretty quickly. It should never be more than a couple of weeks for you to hear back.
Hi, my name is Soraya Popal. I joined for my husband this program today. He's not feeling well that much, but I'm not sure how should I, I know the story, but how should I do that, to create the site?
I'll take it, Yaretli. So the way you do great questions, Ray, by the way. Again, the coach is going to be able to work with you directly once you, again, opt into a coach and have a microsite. And once again, there's a lot of times where the coach is, again, communicating with a champion, in this case, yourself, right? They don't have to talk to the patient. As long as you are registered, again, through the registration of the microsite patient as the champion or with your phone number in there as well, the coach is going to be able to talk to you, and the coach will provide you the whole perspective on how to write a compelling story, right? All you have to give them is some bullets about your story, and the coach
Okay.
will create it. Correct. Mhm.
Okay. So it's how people can reach to see this, like, so he can get a kidney. We are waiting 5 years for Dallas. Like, other people can go join and see for this, how, like the donor.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Jared.
Yeah, so the microsite, it's the link between the potential donors and the center, right? And once your husband has his customized microsite, he will have a link, very easy to share link. And once you share that link, and just to expand a little bit of how the microsite communicates with the center, the potential donor will go to his site, look at his story, click on one of the three blue buttons that are on the site. The top one says looking to donate for, the second one get screen. All three blue buttons that are on your husband's site are gonna link the potential donor to this questionnaire, which is gonna take about 45 minutes for the potential donor to complete the questionnaire. And then it will give them the option not only to speak with the donor mentor, but also to select how they want to go about doing the initial labs. The first option would be they can have a phlebotomist contact them, schedule an appointment, and do an in-home test. They will receive a kit and they will complete that initial blood test. Or they can choose to have a lab order sent to them via email. They can download it and they can take that lab order to a Quest lab near them. They don't even have to be in the same state as your husband. They can choose to do remote donation and go to any Quest lab in the United States. After they complete that initial testing, if they are considered eligible to continue the process, they will receive a notification saying, hey, you're good to continue the donation process. Please select a center. And they will be able to select whether it's Mayo, Florida, or any NKR participant center that is going to complete the remaining tests to determine if they're good to continue with the donation. And then it will proceed to schedule the transplant. And if they are matched, they can do direct donation. If they are not a match, they can donate on their behalf, and your husband will become a voucher holder.
Thank you, Yaretli.
Thank you.
So
Sure.
can I just say too, guys, rely on these experts because they know what they're doing. They've all been through this. NKR is the expert in this. They are really trying to make it as simple as they can for you guys. And that's why we're partnering with them, is because they are making it so simple and so easy for you guys, and that very much patient and family centered to get you to where you need to be for transplant.
Thank you,
Thank
Pat.
you. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? We're right up against time, so thank you guys for doing this. We will have a recording out on our playlist on the Mayo YouTube channel. Probably takes me a couple of weeks to get it out there, so give me a little time. But thank you again, EJ, and Yaretli, thank you for helping and for coming on. Thank you everybody for attending today, and go find some living donors. We want you to get to transplant, okay?
Yeah.
And call us if you got any questions, but thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pat.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.